Hello and welcome to the Gym City Gridiron Roundup podcast. As always, I am not your host, the commish, Zachary D. Stewart. Um, Soloing it this week. Dalton is out on a motorcycle trip, and yeah, we're just gonna get right into it. Crazy week one of the NFL season. Just gonna do a quick breakdown of games, big injuries, but just a kind of uneventful first week in the NFL. A lot of unders, nothing too crazy, except a couple injuries late yesterday that we can get into. But we'll start off right on that Thursday night, Kansas City Chiefs. Um, just a fun game with the new weapons for Patrick Mahomes. When they had a terrible receiving core last year, and they still won the Super Bowl. But this year, they have Hollywood Brown not back from injury yet, but Xavier Worthy and Rashee Rice and obviously Travis Kelce. But they're the real deal. And obviously Baltimore, they got into it early. The big touchdown by Henry to start the game, but just couldn't do much else. One of the big storylines in that game is actually Isaiah Likely, just a massive day. Um, Mark Andrews was double covered if you watch the film quite a bit, bracketed. They played a lot of the 12 personnel, two tight end sets. So good things to come from Mark Andrews still. Isaiah Likely, I think, could be around for a little bit. The tight end scoring has just been abysmal this week. Only like four tight ends scored more than 10 and a half points. So, and only one guy that was drafted as a top tier tight end, Brock Bowers, actually got home. Everyone else was Isaiah Likely and Boston Moreau and Juwan Johnson, Chigga Quankwo. So, yeah, it's a wild tight end landscape out there. Jump over to that Friday night game, first Friday night game that we've had on the opening week. Saquon Barkley, three touchdowns. That makes such a huge difference. Jalen Hurts didn't look like himself as much, but AJ Brown still got there, and Devontae Smith still got there. Obviously, Barkley got there, two on the ground, one in the air. And the Packers looked pretty good too. Josh Jacobs was fine. It was fun to watch the receivers for the Packers do well. Christian Watson caught a touchdown, but Jaden Reed, that was the big thing for him. 138 receiving yards, multiple touchdowns. But the big thing about Green Bay is losing Jordan Love. Sprained MCL. They are not going to put him on the IR, so looking like 2 to 3 weeks. Must be a low grade MCL sprain, so he should be back in a week or probably 2 weeks. Malik Willis is now up. Former Titan was traded to the Packers just a few weeks ago, so it's going to be fire up those Malik Willis shares, which no one has. So maybe put a little downgrade on those Packers players for the next couple weeks. Pittsburgh Steelers, man, the Arthur Smith Bowl. Arthur Smith just wanted to win as ugly as possible against his former team. And how to do that is Pittsburgh scores 18 points with 6 field goals. Justin Fields did get the start with Russell Wilson not able to play. I still think Fields is the better quarterback in this system. So we'll see if Fields can hold on to that. Um, yeah, it was wild. Um, yeah, it's just disappointing. But on the Falcons side, they do. Kyle Pitts does get a touchdown. Drake London runs all the routes. Kyle Pitts runs all the routes. Bijan Robinson had all the touches. So the Falcons, they will be coming. It's inevitable. So I would not panic too much about the Falcons. It was just a bad game plan. And of course the Steelers defense just got to Kirk Cousins all day long. So not much to say there besides Arthur Smith just sticking it to the Atlanta Falcons and beating them with the most ugly game as possible. But the best thing about that game, though, you got to find some memes, you got to find the footage. Russell Wilson's inactive, but of course, in true Russell Wilson fashion, he's wearing his game jersey in his shoulder pads in his entire Steelers uniform getup, but he's inactive. Just definitely Russ being Russ. One of the fun games here, Buffalo Bills take down the Arizona Cardinals 34-28. And Marvin Harrison, big disappointment, one catch for 4 yards. Um, Buffalo, Josh Allen gets it done on the ground, two rushing touchdowns. He does get his left hand banged up a little bit. No issue there. He's going to be playing. And James Cook leads them on the ground, but does not get any of those touchdowns because Josh Allen is the goal line running back. Keon Coleman led the Bills in receiving yards, but Josh Allen completed passes to 10 different receivers. So it was spread out quite a bit. In Arizona, James Conner cooked. He was the show of that offense. And Trey McBride, another disappointing tight end. He did have 9 targets, but only caught about 4 or 5 of those. Better things to come for the Arizona. Chicago Bears come back from being down 17-0, win 24-17. Will Levis threw an atrocious pick six for the Bears to take the lead. Bears get a special teams touchdown and a defensive touchdown. And Tony Pollard gets most of the work for the Tennessee Titans, does get in on a touchdown. Calvin Ridley does most of the damage. Hopkins barely played, still coming back from that knee injury. Obviously, Chigaquanquo caught that touchdown. But the big news is for the Bears, lackluster performance offensively. Keenan Allen led the team at targets, but he left the game in the fourth quarter. They really haven't disclosed anything about that. Roma Dunze, the promising young rookie, went for an MRI today. They say he has a low-grade knee sprain. Don't know what that means. They really haven't given much detail on that. And then DJ Moore was okay, nothing too crazy there. But Caleb was not as sharp as he looked in the preseason, which makes sense because you're playing against backups mainly. So better days ahead for the Chicago Bears, but good for them to get the win. The upset of the week, New England Patriots take down the Cincinnati Bengals. Yes, the team that 5 teams picked in the Eliminator League. So sorry to, excuse me, sorry to the 5 of you that picked the Bengals. I believe that was Luke, Stewart, Dalton. I'll have to pull it up. Sorry, guys. Should have had that one pulled up. Give me uno momento. Let's see here. Here we go. All right, that would be Ethan, Dalton, Stewart, Luke, and Heath. All 5 of you are out for picking the Bengals. Just to jump to that, Sackett and myself advance. We both have Seattle. Drew picked the Buffalo Bills. Gage picked the Dolphins, and Garrett picked the blowout of the day, the Saints. And then currently I'm recording halftime of Monday Night Football. Blaster and Fuller both picked the 49ers. So we will see if the 49ers can hang on and move those two along. And so 5 of the 12 guys already out. We may do a secondary one just for a fun one once everything finishes up, but just keep an eye on that. the Patriots just kind of ground and pounded with Ramondre, and that was all she wrote. Didn't do a whole lot in the air. It was just the Ramondre show. And Cincinnati, everything just did not seem like they could pull it together with Jamar Chase missing so much of the offseason. T. Higgins aggravated a hamstring injury. New running back, Zach Moss, Chase Brown. Zach Moss got 2/3 of the snap shares, Chase Brown about 1/3. Chase does run like 90% of the routes, gets, 6 for 60. But going to be a slow start for the Bengals once again. Houston Texans, the Houston Texans take down the Colts 29-27. Super fun game to watch. Obviously, the Texans, they have 3 stud receivers with Nico Collins, Tank Dell, and Stephon Diggs. Diggs catches the 2 touchdowns, so that helps his day. Whereas Nico just torches the Indianapolis Colts lately. He gets a nice 100-yard day. Tank Dell has just, about 9 points. So he's going to have better days ahead with 2 of those 3 probably going up every week. So, but the big story of this game was Indianapolis. Jonathan Taylor gets the early rushing touchdown, but Anthony Richardson, 9 of 19 for 200 and some odd yards and a couple touchdowns, a rushing touchdown, threw 350-yard passes. Two of those were touchdowns to Ashton Doolin and Alec Pierce. I know you, Michael Pittman, and Adonai Mitchell folks were hoping those would go your way. A.D. Mitchell did get a couple deep shots, so those are going to be coming soon down the road also. Miami Dolphins end up beating the Jacksonville Jaguars 20-17. Jacksonville's kind of choked it away. We were watching the game. I was in Gillette with Sackett this weekend watching some of the games, and we were just BSing watching the games. And it was sad that Jacksonville couldn't pull it away. Big swing when ETN fumbled on the goal line, goes at the back of the end zone, or recovered in the end zone. And then the very next play, Tyreek Hill goes 80 yards to the house. And next possession down, Jacksonville goes for it on 4th and 1 on their own 35-yard line and doesn't get it. Just mind-boggling. They're up 3 points, and then they turn it over, and then Miami easily has a quick field goal and ties the game. I don't understand that. Just terrible. One of the big ones was Tank Bigsby had the same amount of carries as ETN, so something to watch going forward. Tank Bigsby had more yards after contact, and then Tua had a little over 300 yards passing. Big days by Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle both hit over the 100-yard mark. The land side of the Saints, 47-10 over the Carolina Panthers. Just the Panthers could not get anything going. Chuba Hubbard was bad. Miles Sanders was bad. Deontay Johnson was bad. Every single person was bad. The first play from the Carolina Panthers was an interception from Bryce Young. So, whereas everybody played for the Saints, everybody played for the Saints except for Chris Olave. Everyone got in the box except Chris Olave. He gets a nice 2 for 11, but Shaheed catches a long touchdown. Kamara gets in the end zone. Foster Moreau, Juwan Johnson, even Taysom Hill gets involved. So better. I'd like to say better days ahead for the Panthers, but they were just down so far. A lot of starters were pulled in the fourth quarter. Excuse me. All right, Minnesota Vikings 28-6. We get Sam Darnold and Justin Jetta Jefferson. He does get a touchdown. A nice, okay day for him. Aaron Jones does get the majority of the work. He does put up a nice day. For the Vikings, Jalen Naylor catches that other touchdown pass. Good, super late dart throw, especially now that Jordan Addison could miss a week or two with an ankle injury. And then the other side of the game, just the Giants they were so bad. It's just Daniel Jones doing Daniel Jones things. I had seen a stat today. I don't know if it's correct or not, but I'm going to roll with it. Since signing that $160 million contract, Daniel Jones has thrown more touchdowns to the other team than to his wide receivers. It's pretty bad. So hopefully we get some good Malik Neighbors games. He does lead the team in receiving. Has an okay stat line. But Wan'Dale Robinson did lead the team in targets with 12, but he got 6 of those 12 for 45 yards. So Malik Neighbors is the overall medium to deep threat. Super fun rookie to watch. Chargers versus the Raiders. Chargers take him down 22-10. Gardner Minshew show. Alexander Madison was the surprise in this one. He got more work than Zamir White. Not sure if that's game script dependent because Madison can catch the ball theoretically because he does catch a receiving touchdown. But Zamir White did fumble, so I don't know if that has anything to do with him not getting as much snaps. I'm not sure if Antonio Pierce decided to sit him. But yeah, something to watch going forward. Gardner Minshew was mediocre. Brock Bowers was fun to watch. He did get a decent amount of targets. And one of the fun stories of the day was J.K. Dobbins. Big day, 135 yards on the ground. Yes, he did get a 60-yard carry. Did get caught from behind, but good to see J.K. Dobbins back after the last 2 catastrophic injuries with an ACL and an Achilles. So good for him. Seattle Seahawks take down the Denver Broncos 26-20. Denver kind of controlled the game in the first half. Geno couldn't get it going. They had a couple Terrible field positions, couple safeties that Denver had on Seattle. One with Charbonnet not getting the ball out of the end zone, another holding penalty in the end zone. So both safeties there. But in the second half, Seattle does get it going. Ken Walker starts churning, just gashing the Broncos defense. Um, and then Bo Nix, Mr. Dink and Dunk himself, 3.3 yards per attempt. Not going to quite get it done. I mean, you got Devon Vele catching 8 for 35. Cortland Sutton catching 4 for 40. It's just not a great thing. Bo Nix was very efficient in the short areas of the field, but anything he had to get it over 15 yards. Terrible passer rating, just 2 picks every time he had to throw it deep. So don't foresee much there. Obviously, Ken Walker led the team in receiving. Tyler Lockett actually led the team in receiving, and Walker on the ground. But yeah, maybe better days ahead for Denver. But on the road, rookie quarterback at Lumen Field in Seattle. The Seattle does get it done. A tromping, the Dallas Cowboys 33 to the Browns 17. One of the big storylines for the Dallas Cowboys, obviously they signed sorry, checking my watch. Obviously CeeDee Lamb getting signed last week. Dak gets his big money deal this week. Signed right before the game. So he is here to stay for the next 3 to 4 years. Guaranteed money in the first 2 years. And sorry guys. And then yeah, wasn't much. Definitely a defensive game, even though that the Cowboys were up. They did win by 17. Yeah, it wasn't that much of a fun game to watch. Dak did pepper Lamb, but Lamb only ended up with 61 yards. Ford does lead the team in rushing for 44 yards. He does get a late garbage time touchdown. But the big story here is Deshaun Watson just looked like ass. He was so mediocre. Granted, he was getting pummeled by the Dallas Cowboys defense. A lot of sacks, some interceptions, fumbles. Just not a great day for Dallas. And then um, obviously Zeke Elliott did get the touchdown. Him and Rico, Zeke had probably about 2/3 of the touches compared to, or 2/3 of the snaps. And Rico had about the other third. So Zeke's right now the starter. I guess you could probably play him in a pinch. Obviously, you might be able to have better options at that point. A super fun game right here. Tampa Bay Buccaneers take down the Commanders 37-20. And Baker, man, 4 touchdowns today, 2 to Mike Evans, 1 to Chris Godwin, 1 to Jalen McMillan. Rashad White gets it done, goes over the 100 yards, all rushing receiving yards. And Buccaneers just handled the Commanders, which was kind of weird. You would think the Buccaneers would have more turnovers and sacks with this kind of 17-point lead, but they were up 37-13 for like the entire fourth quarter. But Jalen Daniels was just evading the Buccaneers pass rush. He did fumble a couple times, but they did get the ball back. So no turnovers, no sacks. So could have been better for the Buccaneers defense for a more commanding lead. But the fun thing for the Commanders was he only threw, Jaden Daniels only threw for like 180 yards. Oh my gosh, sorry. But he didn't run for 88 yards, 2 rushing touchdowns, top 3 quarterback on the week. Super fun to watch. If you do get a chance, go back and watch some of those highlights. He looks very fast and he is not afraid to take a hit, which is also scary because he may not last an entire year, just the way he plays. He likes to hit, he likes to get hit, and like Anthony Richardson, but this guy weighs 40 pounds less than Anthony Richardson. So hopefully he can slide, get out of bounds, make some good decisions, and keep putting up fantasy points. Should be a fun one to watch. And cap the Sunday night game, Detroit and the Rams. Um, yeah, tough scene here with Puka Nacua going down, re-injuring that knee that he hurt in the offseason. It did come out today that he is going on short-term IR, which means he is going to miss the next 4 games for the Rams. Obviously, we don't have IR spots in our league, but with a 4-week window, obviously you're going to be holding on to Puka Nacua. With that being said, Cooper Kupp had 21 targets. He had a 50% target share from Stafford. He puts up 32 fantasy points. Cooper Kupp doing Cooper Kupp things. It was a third and Cooper Kupp all night long between Stafford and Cooper Kupp. But the Lions get it done. They kept Amon-Ra St. Brown in check all night. Sam Laporta pretty much in check all night. But Gibbs and Montgomery were running wild, catching out of the backfield. Montgomery led the team with 91 rushing yards, and overtime, they just ran down the throat of the Aaron Donald-less Rams. Ran it right up the gut. Montgomery had probably 7 or 8 carries in that overtime, and then just capped it off with a touchdown. But the big fun surprise was Jameson Williams of the Lions. Leads the team with 121 receiving yards. He was electric last night. So he was super fun to watch. Good chemistry from the third-year pro out of Alabama. See if he can build onto that. And then hopefully the Lions can get Amon-Ra and Laporta going also. But kind of a lousy week 1. There wasn't a whole lot of high-scoring players. Obviously, there's a few. And then the biggest thing are some of those injuries. The Puka Nacua injury, out 4 weeks for sure. The other 2 injuries that I missed were Jake Ferguson. He is listed. It depends on the report day to day, week to week. He's got a knee sprain. He could play as early as this week, but most likely going to miss a week and maybe just miss 1 or 2 weeks. So he should be back soon. And then it looks like David Njoku did suffer a high ankle sprain. So you're looking at probably 4 to 6 weeks on Njoku, which is tough. We got to wait and see what that official diagnosis is. But now that we get to the Monday night game, and it is just senseless of what the Niners are doing. Obviously, they're up 23-7 right now, but the big news of the day was Christian McCaffrey inactive. Obviously, he did not practice pretty much at all during training camp. He had some sort of calf issue, same kind of calf strain that he had late last year. He was limited all week at practice, but when it came down to the 90 minutes before the game and actives, Christian McCaffrey inactive, which meant Jordan Mason was going to get the start, and he has delivered in the absence of Christian McCaffrey. He does have a rushing touchdown, but they have utilized Deebo Samuel more as a running back as well, just like they did before acquiring Christian McCaffrey. Deebo getting a lot of end arounds, a lot of just tailback snaps. So fun to see Deebo get some of those touches like he used to. Should elevate Deebo Samuel's floor for a couple weeks. Not really sure what we're dealing with McCaffrey. Shanahan Jr. is probably not going to give much info on that. So, but Jordan Mason does have 18 carries for 99 yards and 1 touchdown currently. We're halfway through the third quarter. Looks like he just went over the century mark. So he's looking at a 20-point night for the 49ers. So, and then the Jets, on the other hand, Breece Hall does get a touchdown in the first quarter. Garrett Wilson, I believe, is, last time I checked, he was 4 for 45 or something like that. But yeah, super fun. Good first week. It was good hanging out with Sackett, checking out his new pad in Gillette. It was great seeing everyone down in Laramie. It was super fun. Glad we had the golf outing and everything like that. And obviously such a fun time at the draft. And to that, I mean, let's get to the matchups that matter. If people didn't notice, we did do the 3 divisions this year. So 3 divisions of 4. Those 3 other teams in your division are going to be the teams you play twice. And we named all the divisions for some great legendary old running backs now. We have Division 1, the Jamal Charles division. We have Fuller. We have Ethan. We have Dalton Van Pelt's Macaulay Culkin team. And we have the commish. In the Arian Foster division, we have Dark Horse, which is Garrett. How I Met Your Mother, which is Heath. Any Given Sunday, which is Sackett. And of course, Chili Farts, which is Luke. Chili Farts was the name of um, Chili Raft was a Wi-Fi password at our Airbnb, so he went with some chili farts there. And the Todd Gurley division, we have Filthy Richardson, which is Gage. Show Me Your TDs, which is Stuart Brinkman. Future Cap Hits is Blaster. And One Hit Wonders, which is Drew. So we will see which division shakes out to be the stronger division of the 3 and the weaker division. So obviously these first couple weeks are going to be interdivision games. So at this point in time, I have all but wrapped up a win against Dalton. I am currently up 114.12 to 78.56. At this point, we're just playing for points. As I have Jordan Mason, the aforementioned Jordan Mason, since I have McCaffrey, and Dalton has Garrett Wilson. So that is going to be a 1-0 win for me, 0-1 for Dalton. And then we have Ethan versus Fuller. Game technically not over yet. Yes, technically it is over. And it looks like Ethan is going to get his first career win in the Gym City Gridiron and the first loss for Fuller. Ethan is up 146.16 to 138.76. And then we have another win here for Gage, another first timer getting his first win. He's got currently 129.68 over Blaster 118. He does have a couple players left here. He does have the Jets kicker. I'm gonna try to tack on a few more points there. Another matchup that is over. We do have Chili Farts Luke taking down Sackett, currently 117.62 to 101. Sackett is done, and Luke is just adding points from Breece Hall and Deebo Samuel. So 4 games for sure complete. The 5th game that is complete will be Dark Horse taking down Heath. Dark Horse is at 132.82 and done, and Heath at 120.28, which he is done as well. So the only game that is actually really close is going to be Stuart Brinkman, currently at 124.04 to Drew. Sorry if I'm not looking at you guys, I'm looking at the screen over here. To Drew, 120.98. Projections slightly have Stuart with a 2-point victory. Stuart is up only about 3.5 points right now. And what it comes down to really is Drew has George Kittle currently at 6.8 points, and Stewart has 2 points from the Jets defense. So Kittle needs to outscore the Jets defense in the second half by about 3.5 points. So that's going to be our watch for the last game to see if that is possible. Obviously, if the Jets get some sort of turnover, that's going to help that deciding factor. But yeah, we're on to Cincinnati. That's where we're at. We're on to week 2. 5 games are officially closed. Just waiting to see this last game play out and see who finishes week 1 1-0. And then we're on to week 2. Yeah, it's year 11 of the Gym City Gridiron. Um, it's just a great time, guys. I really enjoy it. This podcast is fun. It's my first solo podcast here. So, with that, see you later.